Hello, welcome to Locked on Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. And on today's show, we have Saskatoon Blades defenseman Charlie Wright, who's a draft-eligible prospect. Kind of talking about the whole draft process for him and what it's like going through it. Got some nice Tristen Robins stories and just a nice get to know you of Charlie Wright as, kind of on and off the ice. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked on Sharks.
You're Locked on Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, Fear the Fin and San Jose Hockey Now contributor. Thank you guys, of course, for making us your first listen. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, check us out on YouTube. We've hit 1,000. Going to keep going. Got to make that sweet, sweet YouTube money. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It really does help the show grow as we try to become the best Sharks podcast out there. But today's episode, like I said, I do have Charlie Wright. He's a defensive defenseman for the Saskatoon Blades. He kind of played first line minutes with them, or first pairing of minutes with them, and was kind of a key component to the team. And kind of talked about going through the draft process with him, and what it's like to actually go through the interviews and all that fun stuff, reading his own scouting reports, and so enjoy my episode with Charlie Wright. And now we bring in NHL prospect Charlie Wright of the Saskatoon Blades. Charlie, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. It's Friday afternoon. I know you're giving up as a young man. You have, I'm sure, a crazy Friday night, as all 18-year-old kids do. But you're here hanging out with me right now tonight, so I apologize for that for you in advance.
No place I'd rather be.
You don't have to lie. It's okay. So we're, I know you're getting ready for the NHL draft and stuff, and you're a draft eligible player. But let's start with what type of player you are. What type of player is a team going to be getting here when they draft you?
I would say the roots of my game for sure come on the defensive side. I play against other teams' top lines, and I do my best to shut them down and be physical in the corners. And I think I have a bit of a two-way game in me as well. I can support the rush without giving up defensively. And when it's the right time, I can join the rush and maybe create some offense as well.
Who would you say, and a lot of players, they try to model their game after somebody. Who is somebody like in the NHL or just somebody you grew up watching that you're like, that's who I want to try to be like?
Not necessarily totally grew up watching him, but someone I've really started to watch lately is Josh Morrissey, and I really love the way he plays. He's such a great skater and puck mover, and can break the puck out with ease. And I think he's a great guy to watch. He plays a two-way game as well. He can support the game offensively and plays for every situation for his team and with confidence. So that's definitely a guy that I enjoy watching.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of with your development. I know it's a big process, right? Of like, okay, first, especially with defensemen, first I want to be a responsible defenseman, and then okay, now I want to try to grow the offensive game. And we saw this with another Sharks prospect that's been on, and Galen LaRock, where he was defensive defenseman, and then all of a sudden his offense exploded. So is that kind of your next step, is to try to really kind of work on the offensive game and kind of, I guess, put up points is the way to go?
Yeah, for sure. I'm always trying to improve every part of my game, but that's definitely a part I focus on. I built a better shooting setup in my garage last summer just to work on my shot more and improve that a ton to get shots through from the point to create that offense. But definitely the defensive side of my game is the part that my game always comes back to.
Yeah, that's got to be your bread and butter, right? Is you want your defenseman to actually play defense at times. So it's pretty important, I think. So, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, I mean, the draft, as we're recording this, draft's 2 weeks away. At least the second day of the draft is 2 weeks away. what's your draft plans? What are you doing kind of before the draft, or what are you doing the day of the draft?
Day of the draft, I actually have some skates with an old coach of mine to work on some goal scoring. So
There you go.
I'm excited for that. And hopefully it'll take my mind off of the draft, because that could be a stressful day for some guys.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, just watching the draft, and like we prospect, done a bunch of prospect, reviews, and kind of like you have guys that you really want that you're hoping get drafted, and just hoping that they get drafted is stressful enough. I couldn't imagine actually the thought of being drafted and the process of that. So, are you gonna after you hopefully get drafted, are you gonna go out and celebrate with family?
Yeah, I'm sure I will. Family, friends, I'm sure we'll celebrate lots. It doesn't matter what team, right? It's a dream come true to get drafted to any team.
Yeah. Have you talked to any teams, or you kind of got to keep that a little quiet?
There's been a few teams, right? There, here and there, you get some questionnaires. But no, it really doesn't matter whatever team takes me. I'm really excited just for that day and see where I go.
What are those I mean, I've never gone through the draft process, unfortunately. A little too old to get drafted now, but like, what's the process like when you talk to teams? Are they give you a questionnaire, they kind of grill you, and like, is it kind of just they want to get to know you? What's that process like?
Yeah, I would say it's more just trying to get to know you. Like, they get to see you on the ice, and obviously watching you, they don't get to know your character. And I think character is a huge part of the game. And you can't just have a guy that's super skilled but selfish and won't pass the puck. You need a guy that's fun to have around and can be good as a person in the dressing room to other guys and help each other grow.
Do you read your own scouting reports? Do you kind of like look and see what people are saying about you, and kind of does it pique your interest, or you try to kind of keep your head down and keep working on what you're doing?
A little bit of both, I'd say. Every once in a while, something will pop up on Twitter or whatever, and you go check it out, and hopefully it's good, and usually it is. So yeah, I definitely read up on those when I see them.
It does. How accurate are they? I know we talked to Tristen Robins a while ago about his, and he was like, wow, they're like pretty accurate on like, oh yeah, this is something I need to work on, or this is something I'm good at. Do you find that they're pretty accurate, or?
Yeah, they are pretty accurate. I remember I read one this year, and it just said that I played a safe game. And I think that was pretty accurate way to describe my game, as the defensive side comes first. And then if I can join the rush, I will, only if it's safe. So I think that describes my game pretty good.
All right, guys, before we continue with Charlie, we talk about some good Tristen Robins stories here. Why Tristen Robins always has snacks on him, apparently. So, but we got to go ahead, take a quick break, and talk to you guys about our friends over at BetOnline. You guys know by now, BetOnline, it's got you covered for all your betting needs and sports information. They have the latest scores, developments, league reviews, and news, including Major League Baseball. You got golf, you got MMA, boxing. They have NFL futures, which is always really fun to bet on. It's like you place a bet, and then in January, you're like, oh, here's free money that I have to help pay for your Christmas presents. But they've got you covered for all that. They've also got you covered for your sports scores, podcasts, other than this one, and news. So head over to their website today. Use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. Bet online, where the game starts. And also, we got to tell you guys about a new sponsor just for San Jose Hockey, or just for the Locked On Sharks. So just as San Jose Hockey fans, brand new to us. So have you ever... you and your group of friends trying to decide who's actually the best athlete between you? You don't have to worry about that now. With 10athletes.com has a formula that rates you from 1 to 10 as an athlete and 1 to 10 in over 300 sports and games that you play in real life. So all you do is simply create your own athlete profile and start submitting your game results. So if you and your friends go golfing and you actually want to kind of keep track of who's the better golfer, they've got you covered with that. You can compare your personal stats, sports ratings, athlete rating with your friends and find out who's the best athlete in the backyard, the block, or even the whole world. And the first time ever you get to your own complete athlete profile with personal sports rankings, your athlete rating, stars, and a full history of games played. So Head over to 10athletes.com, create your profile today. Just find out how good you really are. Are you athletic enough to hold the coveted title of best athlete in the world on our rankings? Join our athlete network, play sports, and get ranked all for free. From 1 to 10, how good are you? 10athletes.com, where fun must be always. So, I mean, I just mentioned Tristen Robins, and of course, Sharks fans, they know Tristen Robins being drafted by the Sharks, part of the heralded 2020 draft. You've played with Tristen, for a couple of years now. Do you have a good Tristen story? Do you have something you can, anything you want to share about Tristen?
I love Robbie. Great guy, great character. Was a great leader this year, one of our best, and he had a great year. Probably just something funny about him is he's always eating, which is a good habit. He's got tons of snacks on the bus and whatever else. But
does he share?
Oh yeah, he's a great sharer too.
Oh, so you have to be, I think that's when you're a captain, you have to be a sharer, right? I think that's part of the requisites is you have to share the snacks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anything? Do you know what his go-to was?
He had all kinds of stuff. He's got mostly healthy stuff, and every once in a while he has some cookies or a popcorn or something like that.
I know he's a big popcorn guy. I remember he said he loves movie theater popcorn, and I do remember him mentioning that was one of his favorite snacks is movie theater popcorn. So, I mean, I know that's gonna be a big loss for the Blades, with him going to the Barracuda now and stuff like that. So, what's kind of next for the Blades? I know you guys made the playoffs this year. Of course, it didn't go the way you wanted. So, what do you think is kind of the next step for the Blades?
I think we have a lot of guys coming back, so I think we're just going to take another step in our game this year and make up for that first round loss last year against Moose Jaw, and that was pretty disappointing. And I know a lot of guys are disappointed considering how we played pretty good against them all year. But I think just keep growing and developing our game, and we're going to have a lot of guys back, so it should be an exciting year for us.
Yeah, I believe like Brandon Lukowski, he's a draft eligible guy, and I think I've seen a lot of like second or third round picks for him. I know he scored a ton last year, and you kind of expect him to kind of grow maybe into that. I don't want to say like take over for the Robins role, but I mean somebody has to step into those shoes, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he's a guy that will step into that role, and he'll score a ton of goals for us this year.
Awesome. So off the ice, we'll kind of get to know you. have 3 sisters. How do you survive a household with 3 sisters?
Barely. No, they're awesome. One just got her degree in education and music from the University of Lethbridge. She just finished that up and graduated this year. My second oldest sister is taking nursing in Red Deer, so they're both away from home, but still somewhat nearby. But no, they're great. And my youngest sister is just finishing up grade 8. And she's been great too. They're all super supportive and come out to my games whenever I'm in Red Deer and around, and even make a few trips out to Saskatoon. So no, they're great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we were talking beforehand, and if your sister's a nurse, my wife's a nurse, like just how important, just the dedication and how important it is to being a nurse. And like, I don't know how serious some of the stories that she tells me. It's like that it takes a special type of person to be a nurse. So hats off to her. Yeah, congratulations to her as she's doing that. So when you're not playing hockey and not training for hockey, what other activities do you do? I know it seems like a lot of hockey players are big golf guys. Do you play golf? Like, what do you like to do off the ice?
Yeah, I've kind of just started up on golfing last summer, so I'm not great at it yet, but I'm working at it. And away from hockey and the gym, it's hard for me to sit still. I'm usually out playing other sports or whatever. One of my favorites is spike ball. I get a few buddies, if you've heard of that. And
is that the little trampoline one, right? Where you like,
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of our favorites. So I'm usually doing something like that, just out trying different sports.
Gotcha. You got to try to work on your golf game. I know Gannon LaRock, he's a pretty solid golfer from what I've talked about him. You might need to play a couple rounds with him and see if you can pick up some tips on trying to improve that golf game there.
Yeah, that puts the pressure on for sure.
Yeah, especially I know if a lot of hockey players, it seems like that's kind of their go-to game. Is I don't know, it seems like way too stressful for me. I think I've played like 1 or 2 rounds in my life, and it's too much work, man. I don't know how you guys do it.
Golf's supposed to be the opposite. It's supposed to be relaxing and fun.
It's supposed to be, but it never is, because it's like you have to do a bajillion things right for it to have a chance to the ball to go the right way. So,
Right.
I know you said you're a pretty active guy, but like, is there any shows you've watched recently, or what's the last thing you binge watched?
The new Stranger Things
Okay.
season just came out, and then so I binged that pretty quick.
Mhm.
It was a really good season, and then part 2 of that will come out on the 1st. So I'm
Not
excited for
that you
that
don't have
one
your
as well.
calendars marked for that. Yeah, the
Yeah,
day
I
marked
do.
off. Yeah, just
Yeah.
sorry guys, I can't do anything today. It's Stranger Things Day, so that's good. That's
Right.
good. All right, guys. Before we finish up with Charlie, we talk about the hockey gives blood and why it's such an important thing to him, and kind of talk, for me, why donating blood is important as well. Got to take a quick break. Let you guys know, of course, about Locked On NHL. So when you guys are done listening to this podcast, you go check out Locked On NHL. They've got you covered 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, by local experts covering the biggest stories in the NHL. Get you guys ready for the draft. Get you guys ready for free agency. All the big stories in the NHL. So make sure you guys go check out Locked On NHL as soon as you're done listening to this podcast. And then, so when you're getting ready for a game, like what's your pregame kind of checklist? Are you a superstitious guy? Are you a little stitious guy? Like, are you kind of let it flow? How do you get ready for games?
A little bit of both. A little bit superstition, not too
Mhm.
much though, and just try to stay loose enough, but still dialed in and focused that I'm ready to go as soon as the puck drops, and making sure the body's ready to go and warm up. And then in the dressing room while you're getting dressed, you're um, imagining making those plays and making that tape to tape pass.
I assume you're chicken and pasta, like 99% of all hockey players.
Yeah, chicken and pasta, chicken and rice, some
Mhm.
broccoli in there, get some vegetables in there.
Music guy, or are you a kind of a quiet guy when you listen, getting ready?
When I'm getting ready, I'm usually pretty quiet. I
Okay.
don't say much before games. Just try and dial it in, get your head in it.
Do you listen to whoever I don't know who the Blades locker room DJ is? Do you just listen to whoever that is, or do you have your own playlist?
No, I usually just listen to the DJ.
Who's the DJ?
We had a few this year. Rhett Reinhardt was it for a bit. Merrick Schneider. Those were the main 2 I can think of. But it definitely got flipped around, which is uncommon.
Yeah. How does someone claim the role of locker room DJ? Is there what's the process, I guess, to become the locker room DJ?
Well, usually it's like someone step up and someone will be like, "I'll do it this one time," and then
They end up doing it.
then they're stuck. Then
Yeah.
once you do it once, you're stuck. So
Gotcha. You don't want to be the locker room DJ?
I don't think so. It would take my mind off of the game. I just want to focus on that.
That's too much pressure too, because I think like if you have to, because you got to try to appease, everybody that's there. Yeah, that's too much pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah. I have to ask, you're not a monster who doesn't wear socks with do you wear socks with skates, or you sockless guy?
Oh no, for sure the socks.
Okay.
No socks is weird.
You're a monster, right?
I am?
No,
I do
whoever
wear socks.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
whoever
right.
whoever doesn't wear socks,
I
you're a
gotcha.
monster. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
One Ryan Merkley famously doesn't wear socks, but yeah, I don't know how. Anyway, people say, I guess Bobby Orr did it back in the day, and people try, when you're a kid, you try to emulate your heroes and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I don't know how people do that. So, all right, we'll get out of here on this really quick with you. So, big part of, you're really big into the Hockey Gives Blood campaign. I work at a blood center. I know the importance of giving blood and how important that is. And, it's not easy to get people to come in and donate blood, because who wants to spend their time getting a needle jabbed in their arm? But why is this campaign so important to you?
Well, I got reached out to by Stu Middleton, and I never really realized the importance of it, as a lot of people don't.
Mhm.
And then he kind of showed me the stats and stuff like that, and I realized like this is something that's a need, especially with the COVID. It really took a hit on blood donations, so I wanted to just help out in any way I could and step up and try and get more people in there donating. And I've donated twice myself, and still I took my sisters out and still trying to get more people, trying to get them in there donating as well.
Yeah, it's an important cause. Like I said, I mean, it's what I actually do for a living is, trying to do it. And, like it's insane just how often and how needed the blood donations are. And it's literally takes you 45 minutes of your time, and that's the entire process. And you usually have the needle in your arm for 7-8 minutes at the most, and you get a nice snack afterwards. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's a really important thing. You can save 3 lives with every blood donation. I can give you a bajillion facts, as I've had to memorize a bajillion of them, but yeah, it's really important. So Charlie, thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the draft, and good luck next season with the Blades. And I'm sure we'll continue to watch the Blades, and hopefully Doug Wilson Jr. is listening to this. I know he listens to the podcast. So Doug Wilson Jr., Charlie Wright, he's your man. Partner him with LaRock, you're good to go. The Wright and LaRock pairing, let's go.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you so much for having me on today.
Thanks. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Charlie Wright. Super nice kid. I mean, he took his time out on a Friday night to come talk to me for a little bit, really intrigued to kind of see where he goes. And I think he's going to be a nice fit for whatever team drafts him and stuff. So I really expect to kind of see that offensive jump with him once, kind of we saw that with like Gannon LaRock, where, they work on that offense and they kind of make that jump next year. And I don't see why a guy like Charlie Wright can't kind of make that same type of jump. So again, thank you guys for listening. Of course, you can find the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Make sure you guys are subscribed there. That way you can guys keep up with everything that's going on with the show. You can, of course, listen to the show, Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. If you're on Apple, 5-star review, really nice. Makes me feel good about myself. And of course, YouTube, if you want to watch me and my cool little ever-changing Lego displays, we have the Mandalorian helmet up today. So we got that. And then, we'll be back later this week with, actually, we'll be back tomorrow, of course. So hopefully we're trying to get a draft profile in there. If not, I'll get something else together. And we've got William Eklund, of course, is going to be back on Thursday. I'm going to do a live show Thursday night for Friday's episode. And then next week it's draft week. So it's going to be all draft all week. We're going to look at some big questions, the Sharks, some best case, worst case scenarios, and all that fun stuff to get you guys ready for the NHL draft. So make sure you guys are subscribed and coming back every day. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at myfryhole. That'll be it. You guys have a great Tuesday. Bye, friends.